Alright guys, Revolver Roslot here, and today I will be reviewing the September 14th editions of NXT and the Cruiserweight Classic. This would be the finale of the Cruiserweight Classic and what has been an incredible tournament. Some of the best wrestling you'll watch all year, and this show, I know I'm wearing a thank you Daniel Bryan shirt today, but I want to say thank you Cruiserweight Classic. This show was incredible. It's probably the best 2 hours of wrestling I've ever watched in my entire life. It's the best 2 hours of wrestling any company has put on this year, and it was absolutely incredible. But of course we have to start with NXT, which was actually okay this week. So let's get right into it. NXT begun with Samoa Joe coming to the ring and discussing how basically he'd actually come to respect Shinsuke Nakamura as not just a contender but as the champion, and eventually would call out Shinsuke Nakamura, who would come out and the crowd sung his music and it was great. And then Joe would say to Nakamura, "You're not going to hear this from William Regal, I want you to hear this from me. I want my rematch." Nakamura stood for a second, said, "Rematch, you're on." So we're going to get the rematch between Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura. That's always a good thing. Samoa Joe kind of teased turning babyface here with his, respect, how he respected Nakamura, and, how he felt like in NXT he'd run roughshod over everyone and he'd done it the wrong way. And then after Joe left, Nakamura would walk up the ramp and give his, signature charisma and, poses and stuff like that. And Joe would come out and attack him and eventually would give him a uranagi onto the stage steps, injuring Shinsuke Nakamura, who would then need to be carried out on a stretcher, which was made all the more intense by the fact that Corey Graves went down to ringside and checked on Nakamura, and Nakamura being taken out was honestly such a fantastic moment, because it was like, alright, he's cocky, but right here, he let him down, and he got caught by Samoa Joe and he got injured. So, I love this segment so much. After this segment finished, I was like, damn, this is going to be a good show because of that segment, which, the next segment didn't help. But, this was an awesome segment. It was only, as I just said, amplified by Corey Graves being at ringside. And then, as we came back from commercial break, Graves came back to the commentary desk, and the two commentators, I love Tom Phillips and Corey Graves a lot, and they were totally flustered by this, and it was so great. They played off so well. Corey was like, yeah, it didn't look good. He didn't look very good for Shin, and it was just great stuff. Everyone involved. Samoa Joe was great here in teasing the crowd that he was going to turn babyface. Nakamura was great here in the fact that he was cocky and confident. And then, of course, I hope when he comes back, he's just totally... I mean, he needs that charisma sometimes, but going into that Joe match, it needs to be totally serious. Corey Graves was great here. Tom Phillips was great here. Both seemed flustered after what had happened. Great segment. Absolutely loved it. One of the best segments on NXT television this year. And it would be followed up by Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan faced Rachel... Oh, God, I can't believe it. Wait. Liv Morgan faced Rachel Fazio. Sorry, that was it. So you follow up a fantastic segment with a Liv Morgan match. This was sloppy. This was bad. Liv Morgan totally sucks. She's garbage. She is totally garbage. She is rubbish at her job. She won with a move. I can't even remember what move she won with. It wasn't a heel kick though. She didn't botch a heel kick again. After the matchup, Liv Morgan would cut a promo, which probably was even worse. And you know what was amazing to me is that these athletes are supposed to have cardio. And Liv Morgan wrestled a matchup that was 2 minutes long, and she was panting and breathing heavily, and it's like, you wrestled for 2 minutes. I saw guys on this Cruiserweight Classic show who wrestled for 15, and I'm just saying that because it was on the same night, I'm just comparing it. These guys had such great cardio. They had a 15-minute matchup and then gave a totally clean interview. It was great. Liv Morgan, horrible at everything she does. Horrible match, horrible promo. She basically called out Asuka. So our next program seems to be, as I actually said, Liv Morgan and Asuka. I hope Asuka just kills her, and it seems like that's what the crowd want as well. Liv Morgan is horrible at her job. Rubbish. Then we had another Sanity vignette. Again, I have no idea. They need to announce when they're going to turn up, because then that'll at least create some excitement. It's just happening every week now, and it's just becoming a little bit stale. Just say they're going to turn up next week, and then people will be hyped in, and they'll probably tune in for the next week. Then we had a very interesting matchup. Drew Gulak took on Hideo Itami. It was very nice to see Drew Gulak back. This matchup was hard-hitting. There were slaps, fists, forearms, everything you know. Of course, Itami would win in the end. Hesitation, dropkick, and GTS. The first time he's won a match with the GTS outside of the Tyler Breeze match at the WrestleMania 31 weekend show. But honestly, I graded this 2.5 stars, and honestly, okay, the little TV match here. Really, really fun. 4 minutes long. Really, really fun little stuff here. Itami wins, of course, and that was totally fine. Exactly what it needed to be. Then we had the Authors of Pain killing some jobbers, and that's literally all I've put. They won, of course, with the clothesline Russian leg sweep. The Authors of Pain are okay. I'm losing interest in them because I have no idea what the motivation is. Paul Ellering hasn't said a word yet, which I really think he needs to. And I have no idea who these guys are. I don't know their motivation. I don't know what they want. So I'm losing interest in these guys very, very quickly. Ty Dillinger would then be interviewed, and he would talk about his summer, and he said, you know, my summer hasn't been great. This was a pretty good promo from Ty Dillinger, to be honest. He said, you know, my summer hasn't been great, because, you know, I lost to Only Lorcan, and then I went on a little bit of a downhill spiral, but then, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, I beat Blake, and then a couple of weeks ago on NXT TV, I beat Murphy, so people no longer can say to me, oh God, Ty Dillinger, is he a 9.5, or is he just a 9? No, Ty Dillinger is, and will always will be, a perfect 10. Good promo from Dillinger. Good promo. Really liked it. Then we had the main event of the show, No Way Jose taking on Bobby Roode. Fine little matchup, I gave it 2.25 stars. In the end, of course, Roode won around 7 minutes. Not with the glorious bomb, thank God. He won with an Impaler DDT, an execution, if you will. And fine for Bobby Roode. The crowd loved him. The audience were totally behind him. And that's how you end NXT. Pretty good show. I did enjoy the opening segment so much. The only thing on this show I really didn't like was the Liv Morgan stuff. It was horrible. But at least it only took up around 5 minutes of my time. So that was NXT. Pretty decent show. Watch it if you want to, because it was a decent show. Now we move on to the Cruiserweight Classic this week. I bowed down to this week's Cruiserweight Classic. The finale of the Cruiserweight Classic. We had 4 matches on the show. Oh, God, okay. So, Cruiserweight Classic, and it begun with basically a highlight package of the tournament so far, with brief statements from each man in the Final Four, TJ Perkins, Gran Metalik, Kota Ibushi, and Zack Sabre Jr. We had a Triple H monologue as well over the highlights at the beginning, which was fine. We then had Brian and Mauro Ranallo talk for a minute about the rise of Cruiserweight Wrestling, and they talked about the Super J Cup in Japan. They talked about, you know, the guys like Eddie Guerrero, the Ligers, the guys who really made Cruiserweight Wrestling what it is today. And Mauro talked about how he's such a fan of Cruiserweight Wrestling. And these two guys, honestly, these two are the best commentary team in this company. They are phenomenal. These should be the SmackDown commentators, in my opinion. And I know Daniel Bryan's the GM, but you could totally make it work with him just being the commentator as well, and it could be awesome. Look at it like this: Nigel McGuinness commentates in Ring of Honor, and he's the booker. So I think it could be totally fine if you had him as the booker, the commentator. Sorry, I got a little bit confused then. But anyway, yep, then just great. I love these guys so much. They put over Cruiserweight Wrestling so much. We had our first semi-final match, first match of the show, Zack Sabre Jr., Gran Metalik. Just awesome match. Like, genuinely, not the best match on the show, that would come later, but awesome, awesome match. Like, these two guys, it was a very different clash of styles. You had the technician of Zack Sabre Jr., the high-flying Lucha Libre of Metalik, but it gelled so well. The variety of submissions that Metalik would get caught in by Zack Sabre Jr. was so perfectly done. Like, every time he would go for a springboard or something, Sabre would counter and hit him with a submission. He went for a springboard elbow, and Sabre would counter, put him in a triangle choke, and then lock in the Jim Briggs as well. Great stuff there. An octopus stretch, you saw, I think he went for a couple of arm bars, but Metalik, of course. The psychology of this matchup. People, if you don't know what wrestling psychology is, it is basically telling your story, but making it seem effective and, makes sense. And Metalik went into this matchup, and in a minute, he drop-kicked Sabre out of the ring, hit a tope con hero, and then hit a springboard swanton bomb. Went for the pin, Sabre kicked out. That is phenomenal wrestling psychology. Because, well, it's great psychology. Because Metalik has to wrestle 2 matches if he would. He would have to wrestle in the main event in the final. So he needed to beat Zack Sabre quickly, vice versa. And he knows that Zack Sabre is very tricky, and with his submissions, he can catch him like that. So he tried to beat him very, very quickly. Great psychology. Metalik would go on to hit a series of springboards, springboard splash, springboard elbow, all that good stuff. Sabre would obviously use a variety of submissions, hit a vicious penalty kick for a great near fall, but in the end, Sabre would get caught by Grand Metalik. He went for probably an octopus stretch or something. Metalik caught him. Metalik driver making the move seem vicious as hell. 1, 2, 3. Grand Metalik shocked a lot of people here, and not a lot of people in the world, I imagine, and beats Zack Sabre and advances to the finals of the Cruiserweight Classic. 4.25 stars. Great wrestling match. Really enjoyed it. Not the best match on the show, but awesome wrestling match. Really great way to kick off the show. We then had, which would happen for both semi-finals matches and the final, the winner would be interviewed by, I believe, Charlie Caruso. Her questions were very simple. And Metalik, of course, doesn't speak the great English. So, he's great. I love Metalik. Mascara Dorada, Metalik, is so great. And, he just basically thanked the fans, which was nice. Nothing really to this, but, it was nice to see him thank the fans. We then had Gargano and Ciampa backstage talking about their match. They would be facing the team of Noam Dar and Cedric Alexander. 2 guys who, of course, 2 of the standouts in the competition, so good choice of opponents there. It was great to see DIY back together, these 2 guys. Oh, they're probably my favourite tag team. I love the Revival, but DIY are awesome. We then had the second of 2 of the semi-finals. Kota Ibushi, TJ Perkins. This matchup was... this was so awesome. This was incredible. The tension that these 2 guys brought in the first... Before the bell even rang, when they stared at each other and the handshake was just... That was it. It was just tension. And then the matchup kicked in, and TJ would start off strong with his head scissor takedowns. He wouldn't dab, though, because he can't risk being too cocky. This was, again, great psychology. It showed the importance of the match. Eventually, Metalik Perkins would actually give a big leg kick to Ibushi, who would fall to the outside on his neck. Ibushi sells like no other. Sami Zayn sells phenomenally, but Ibushi, oh my god, he sold his neck, he held his head, he looked so dazed. He also sold his knee here. Then, of course, that would be worked over through the match by TJ Perkins. There was such great intensity and fire between these 2 men. There was a great near fall from TJ Perkins, who would hit a what did he hit? He hit the a big Pele from Ibushi to catch TJ Perkins on the top rope. TJ Perkins sold this like he died, fell off the top rope just flawlessly. Ibushi would pick him up for the Golden Star Powerbomb, go to hit it. Perkins would counter it into a DDT, just spiking the neck of Kota Ibushi. He picked him straight back up, chicken wing, double knee gutbuster, 1, 2, Ibushi kicked out. Such a great near fall there. He would pick him up, a series of slaps on both men. They would connect with slaps at the same time, but at the end of this sequence, Ibushi would catch him with a big mid-drift kick, pick him up, Golden Star Powerbomb, 1, 2, kick out by TJ Perkins. Oh my god, this match was into another gear after the double knee kick out. He would go for he would go for another one, I believe. Perkins would counter that again, getting a couple of knee bars for some great near falls, which Ibushi would get to the ropes. Obviously, he would jump to the ropes and just grab on just with all of his heart, and you could see the expression in the face of Ibushi selling this knee. Perkins would go for another rolling knee bar. Ibushi would counter him, grab him in the wheelbarrow pile driver, slam him neck first into the mat. 1, 2, kick out by Perkins. Perkins and Ibushi said, "You know what? I've had enough." Pick him up for another Golden Star powerbomb after he missed the Phoenix Splash. Oh no, he missed the Phoenix Splash, and then Ibushi would lock in. Oh, there was a really great counter actually in this matchup where Ibushi went for a Pele kick and Perkins would counter it into the knee bar. Just these two guys, the transitions, the knee bar stuff from Perkins in this matchup was incredible. Ibushi would eventually go for a Phoenix Splash up. Perkins dodged out of the way, I believe. That was where the slap combo happened. But in the end, another Golden Star powerbomb would try to be hit from Kota Ibushi. Perkins would end up countering it into a sunset flip, which would turn into the TJP clutch. He would cross over the leg, but then to add more insult to injury, with the injured neck of Kota Ibushi, he would wrench the neck back while he had the TJP clutch locked in. Ibushi was left with no choice other than to tap out. This match was absolutely incredible. This was insane. Oh my god, I loved this match. This was insane wrestling. The transitions. I know that on this show, Kota Ibushi was definitely the best wrestler on this show. You could tell he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. But TJ Perkins on this show, oh my god, this guy. My rating for this matchup, 5 stars. This match was insane. This match was unbelievable. I loved it. Perkins, after the matchup, had his arm raised, was absolutely fired up and ready to get to that final, which shockingly, people were shocked by Perkins' Metalik in the final, and honestly, I was too, but then I thought these two guys are signed, so it does make sense. Ibushi would cry. He would shed a tear that he'd lost. Just awesome. Perkins, of course, as Metalik was after his match, would be given a medal and would be interviewed. Perkins said, I can't believe I'm in the final. I can't believe it. I just beat Kota Ibushi. Everybody tells me that I can't beat the next opponent. I couldn't beat Johnny Gargano. I couldn't beat Rich Swann. I couldn't beat Kota Ibushi. And guess what? I did, and I'm going to win the Cruiserweight Classic. That was awesome. 5 stars. This match was so insane. Go and watch this match. Go and watch this show. This show was so great. Okay. Oh, that match. That match was so... insane. We had an interview backstage with Noam Dar and Cedric Alexander. These guys talked about how DIY may be a better tag team because they've worked together longer, but we should not be the underdogs. We are athletic, we are gifted athletes, and we are going to beat DIY tonight. Good promo from these guys. I do look forward to seeing these guys on Raw. God! Ugh. Then we had the tag team match. Noam Dar and Cedric Alexander taking on DIY. This was a buffer match. All this match was it was there to give Metalik and Perkins time to recover, as this show was obviously live. This didn't feel like a buffer match. This felt like guys who wanted to steal the show. They tried their very, very best. On most shows in this tournament, this would have been the best match. These 4 guys got all their shit in immediately. There was great stuff. A vicious dropkick from Ciampa as Alexander went for the kind of the lethal injection. Great kick there. Great stuff. A big super kick from Alexander to Ciampa, whose head was stuck in the turnbuckle. Gargano with a lawn dart. Gargano with a with a spear. Dar was great here. Everyone was great here. Just everyone got their stuff in. There was dives. There was stiff strikes. There was good near falls off everything. Brainbuster near fall. There was a super kick near fall where the referee botched. The referee counted the 3 even though Ciampa had just got his shoulder up a split second before. In the end, lawn dart from Gargano kills Noam Dar. They then hit the knee super kick combo, 1, 2, 3, DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa win. I imagine that puts them right back in the tag team title picture in NXT. I hope these guys have a run with the titles. These guys are incredible. So were Alexander and Dar. If they make them a tag team for NXT or even on Raw, this would be awesome for those guys. They had better chemistry than I actually imagined they would. This match went 9 minutes and it was so great. 4 stars, it was the weakest match on the show. But when you know that the weakest match was 4 stars, you know your show was pretty incredible. Great matchup. Really, really love this. And then we had the main event, CWC Final. Grand Metalik against TJ Perkins. And just as the two men would shake hands, I believe that Triple H's music would hit, and I was like, oh my god, Triple H is probably going to bring back the Cruiserweight title, and that's exactly what he did. He brought out a new Cruiserweight title, which I think looks very, very nice. It looks like something you'd want to win, other than a toy, which a lot of the belts do look, like those penny belts. So TJ Perkins and Grand Metalik, what a match these guys had. These two guys had 2 phenomenal matches earlier in the night, and then they had this one. Oh my god, what a match. Perkins would again focus on the knee of Metalik. Metalik would go for all the springboards, the springboard elbow, the springboard splash, the springboard swanton bomb. Great stuff from Metalik. Perkins, honestly, TJ Perkins was going into this show, he was booed backstage before his matchup with Ibushi. After it, he was cheered. After this matchup, he was cheered. TJ Perkins is phenomenal. TJ Perkins, going to Raw might be the best wrestler on that show. These guys, great stuff. A Metalik driver would eventually be hit by Grand Metalik but because Perkins had worked over the knee so much, Perkins had worked over that knee so much, Metalik couldn't get the full torque, so he couldn't spike the head of Perkins. He had to kind of give him a Samoan driver instead of the real spiking the neck driver. And this spike hurt his knee and he couldn't get the cover. This was great attention to detail. Awesome stuff there. Eventually, Metalik decided, you know what? I'm going to have to hit him with another one. They would eventually go to the middle rope. It would go for a Metalik driver off the middle rope. TJ Perkins would counter it into a TJP clutch right on the mat, where he would cross the leg and underhook the leg under his armpit. Metalik was left with no choice but to tap out. TJ Perkins is the winner. He's not the first Cruiserweight champion. He's the first Cruiserweight champion of the new era, as well as the first winner of the Cruiserweight Classic. Awesome match. 4.5 stars. Not as good as the other match Perkins had in the show, but just an unbelievable match regardless. I love wrestling. It is shows like this which allow me to love professional wrestling. And Perkins, in the ring, the trophy would be brought in with him, the belt would be... And this is what I love. Do you know in UFC how Dana White, when a new champion is crowned, he wraps the belt around the new champion? Triple H came in the ring and he wrapped the belt around TJ Perkins and belted it up. That made this tournament feel like a sport. It made it feel important. And TJ Perkins, the trophy was in the ring. TJ Perkins would eventually, he would hug Metalik and say thank you. Metalik would leave. And the crowd would thank Grand Metalik, which they should, as they thanked Kota Ibushi after his match, which again, they should, because these guys... Oh, Grand Metalik's going to be on Raw. That's going to be freaking awesome. Mascara Dorada is going to be on Raw, as is TJ Perkins. Perkins would be allowed to cut a promo, and he talks about how, when he comes to the ring, he has a key around his neck, and that key belongs to an apartment that he was evicted from when he was down and out. And he kept it because it reminded him that he never wanted to go back to that. And now he's the Cruiserweight champion and the winner of the Cruiserweight Classic. And he will never have to go back to that. I had a tear in my eye watching this. This was so great from TJ Perkins. He brought emotion out. And out of all the guys in the finals, would you have picked someone else to win? Ibushi isn't signed, it doesn't seem. Sabre isn't signed. So because you're giving out the belt, you couldn't really pick them. The only other guy you could have picked really was Grand Metalik. And you could have gone either way with either, but I think because Perkins can speak a little bit better English and could give this great promo, and he has better promo ability than Metalik, who of course is awesome. But because of that promo ability, I think they went the right call, giving TJ Perkins the win of the Cruiserweight Classic and the Cruiserweight title. I cried when Perkins was saying this. Perkins is the winner of the first Cruiserweight Classic and the winner of the reinstated Cruiserweight Championship. On Raw this week, the Cruiserweights are coming, and if they give them this opportunity, then these are going to have the best matches on every pay-per-view for Raw. So I hope they have a pay-per-view match at Clash of Champions. I really do. I hope Perkins defends his battle at Clash of Champions against Grand Metalik in a rematch. Because this match, 4.5 stars. Awesome match. This is the best match on most WWE pay-per-views. This show was better than every WWE show I may have ever seen in my entire life. This was the 2 best hours of wrestling I've seen all year. Definitely all year. And I've watched New Japan Wrestle Kingdom. I watched Ring of Honor. I watched all their pay-per-views. I watched Lucha Underground. This show was better than any piece of wrestling I've seen all year. This show was so awesome. So look at it like this: 4.25 star match, 5-star match, 4-star match, and 4.5 stars. Every match was 4 stars, and the weakest was 4 stars. That is incredible. This show gets a 10 out of 10. It was phenomenal, and if you can see I'm hyped, then it's because it was awesome. Go and watch this show. Please finish my review, but go and watch this show because it was unbelievable. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Raw Russell. Like, comment, subscribe for more. This is how you go out in the CWC. A good episode of NXT tonight. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the opening segment. I enjoyed the 2 matches. But this CWC show is how I'm going to end my videos here at home. So, next week, who knows, I might give you a top 5 matches of the CWC. Trust me, that Perkins-Bushi match will be number 1. And I'm not pulling any punches by saying it is. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Raw Russell. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Tell me your thoughts. What did you think of tonight's NXT? What do you think to the Shinsuke Nakamura injury angle? What do you think to Liv Morgan and how wonderful she is, which she's not? She's very attractive and beautiful, but she's not a good wrestler and she can't cut promos. What do you think to the Tami Gulak match? What did you think to how hard-hitting it was? What do you think to the main event? What do you think to Bobby Roode being so over in Full Sail? What do you think to tonight's CWC? If you hated it, you're an idiot. What do you think was the best match on the show? As I said, TJP, Ibushi, 5 stars. What did you think to TJP being the winner of the tournament? And what did you think to the Raw getting the Cruiserweight? And what do you think to the new Cruiserweight Championship? I've been Raw Russell. I want to thank everyone for watching my videos. I want to thank everyone for watching my CWC videos. All my friends for supporting me. All my fans, all my subscribers. Thank you so much. Thank you for my parents for allowing me the time to review these shows and allowing me to stay up at night and use their television to watch these shows. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Revolver Russell. CWC was awesome, so go and watch it.